it's Christine from 90, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of our new annual meeting. So it's going to work just like the level 10 and the quarterly session. It's going to have the same ability to edit those section durations, but with the annual session, you're going to notice there is this day 1 and day 2 concept. So you can edit each of those timeframes from here. If you do edit, you can reset to default, and that can be per team. So all the same as what is existing there now. The main difference with the annual session comes when you're actually starting these meetings. So if I cancel this and go up to start a new annual session, what it's going to do is bring me into the day 1 agenda. So the idea is we're going to go through day 1, and then when we finish the meeting, over here on the left-hand side, that's what's going to allow us to jump into day 2 next. So first, we'll go through objectives and check-in. These are just some basic text fields so that you guys can talk internally in these sections. And then we'll go into review prior year, which is just pulling up our 1-year plan from the VTO. Review prior quarter is going to pull up our rocks page specifically. And this also includes the VTO information of revenue, profit, and measurables from that rocks or 90-day area. So it's all editable from here as well if you need to, but you can easily see that both in this meeting and also on the normal rocks page. Once we get into team health and org checkup, these are again just 2 text fields so that you can have the information here and then go into a different tab or document or whatever you need to for whatever your team is doing in those specific instances right now. And then one new field that we have, new feature, is the SWOT. So this is giving you a breakdown of those different areas. You can add additional fields within here. So these can all be turned into issues and to-dos as well. So it helps you take action with those. And this information is per team. So each team can have its own SWOT built out. And if you're not in the annual session, where you're actually going to see that information is on the VTO. So it's going to be next to vision traction, and then SWOT will be right here for you to go back and reference. And it'll follow those same permission levels that your VTO already has. So you know, what teams can people see? And then are you sharing your VTO with all teams? This information will be shared if you are sharing that, in fact. And then it's also got those same archive capabilities. So when you archive the VTO, you'll have a copy of your SWOT within that one as well. But then finally wrap it up with just the 3-year picture on the VTO. And then once we get to conclude, the recap email is not sent. So you're just finishing this day up. We can press finish day 1, and then it goes into my active annual session. So I can close my computer, go home, go out with the team. And then when we come back the next day, this will be here for that person that ran day 1, and they can jump in and start day 2. And this is going to pull up our new agenda. So we'll have this new layout here. Our agenda items, objectives, and check-in are, of course, just those internal talking points. And you do still have this meeting notes area. So if you wanted to take notes on any of those, you can do so here. If you need to create new issues during that section, you definitely can. And the other thing to remember too is anytime you're taking breaks throughout the day, you can just use that pause button to stop the timer as needed. And then the rest of these sections will kind of follow suit with what we've already seen. So within here, we can actually get a breakdown of the 3-year picture next to the long-term issues, but you can still get to those normal VTO pages like vision traction and now SWOT. And then once we get into 1-year plan, it's just our VTO page, rocks, tackling key issues. Those work the same way as the quarterly. And then when we finally get to conclude, we're all rating the meeting. We can send the recap email. So this will go out unless I uncheck it. And then when we finish up day 2, it'll go into our past annual session. So we're done with the active meeting. It goes into the past. And then the email breakdown will look a lot like this, where you've got day 1 above the day 2 information, but it includes all of those same fields that we're tracking during the quarterly and the level 10, where you can see any content that was created during the meeting. So please play around with us. Let us know what you think. Would love to hear some feedback. While you're in your account, if you're not actively running your annual session with your team and you just want to test this out, do exactly what I just did and start the meeting. You can opt to not send the email, and then you can just delete the meeting afterwards if you'd like to. And then also when you start the meeting, if you wanted to play around with it, you have the suspend button. So you can kind of poke around and see these different areas and then just press suspend to jump out of there and then delete it. So don't feel like you have to be, the first time you're seeing this with your team and in the meeting. You can jump in and play around with it anytime. So hopefully this helps, and excited to hear what you guys have to say.